Good morning. After spending years meeting thousands of startups and investing in several hundred in cities all across the country, I have learned firsthand that entrepreneurship is about so much more than just building a business. It is also about infusing the spirit of innovation, of optimism, and of opportunity into communities all across America. That is one of the many reasons why it is my distinct privilege to introduce this morning's keynote speaker, the head of the SBA, the 27th Administrator, the Honorable Isabella Guzman. Administrator Guzman has spent her career earning and serving. Supporting small business is truly her life's work. As the daughter of a veterinarian, Isabella grew up working in small business from a young age and spent her early career in the private sector. She later transitioned to public service, serving as Deputy Chief of Staff and Senior Advisor to the SBA, and as a small business advocate for the state of California. In her role today, she represents the voice of the 33 million small business owners and innovative startups in the country, and has perhaps the best shadow title of all, CEO of the American Dream. Please join me in welcoming Administrator Guzman, who will deliver today's keynote on the state of the majority and the opportunity ahead for America's women entrepreneurs.
Good morning, good morning. It's great to be here. Well, thank you so much, Anna. I know that I've heard amazing things about Anna. She is a superpower entrepreneur, of course, in her own right, and has really enhanced the entrepreneurial ecosystem across the country. So proud of her. And thanks as well to Rachel Pearson. I don't know where she is. There she is, for gathering this amazing group together again today, as I joined many of you last night as well. I think this sisterhood of Engage has incredible energy, and I felt it deeply at the Remarkable Women reception last night. So thank you again for honoring me with the Engage Women Award for Public Service, and for the great conversation that you facilitated as well with Senator Joni Ernst, who of course is the ranking member on the Senate Small Business Committee. You know, I am thrilled to join all of the distinguished, accomplished winners who also won with me yesterday. And today is a double honor, as you can't imagine how proud I am to be part of the State of the Majority Summit. I mean, State of the Majority. The sound of that is motivating and a reminder of our strength as women in this country and in this economy. Let's just call this month the Majorities History Month from now on. And this president really gets that, because from the first, let's look at it from the perspective of having the first female vice president on his team, as well as a majority female cabinet. We know that diverse teams have great outcomes. And 2 days ago, President Biden helped us kick off SBA's second annual Women's Business Summit in the East Room at the White House to celebrate the impact of our women entrepreneurs. And his remarks showed clearly, as something that I get to see on a regular basis, that he does see women entrepreneurs, and this entire administration remains committed to making sure that we can deliver the investments that we need to unlock America's true economic potential, including equitable investments in women entrepreneurs. Because we know that women, when we get a chance and when we can equitably access opportunities to grow with the tools, networks, and resources that we need, then we do build. And frankly, even when we're not given that chance, somehow, some way, women have still found a path to build. You know, Women's History Month is all about celebrating that incredible spirit and impact and the women who have built it and paved the way. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the signing of H.R. 5050, the Women's Business Ownership Act, which was a bipartisan supported act. That law took important steps to level the playing field and invest in equity for women entrepreneurs. It ended state laws that required women to have a husband or male relative co-sign a business loan. One woman testifying before Congress during that time told them that a bank only gave her a loan after her 17-year-old son agreed to co-sign. And during my Women's Business Summit panel in Dirksen yesterday, Cleo Barger, who's the co-founder of Midstate Aerospace, relayed how she and her partner started back when the norm was having your husband co-sign. Their banker gave them a dose of reality to expect discrimination as they were two young, childbearing age women, one of them Black, trying to get a loan. Needless to say, they persisted, sold Cleo's partner's car for cash to bootstrap their business with $7,500. Not given a chance, they found a way. They were going to recognize the barrier and find a way around it. It wasn't until 2 years later that they were able to go back and get a loan, this time a government-guaranteed SBA loan, to grow their business. And today, Midstate Aerospace is a multi-million-dollar business that manufactures and supplies parts for aircraft all over the world to major defense contractors and commercial airlines, including parts for Air Force One and Air Force Two, which Cleo was so proud of. Cleo was determined, unwilling to waver on her mission to succeed. And we've made incredible progress since the bipartisan HR 5050, but our economy still suffers the harms and lost opportunities of that long and equitable past. During the final vote, and before then President Reagan signed HR 5050 into law, then Speaker of the House Jim Wright said that women-owned businesses may well provide the cutting edge and the American advantage in the world of economic competitiveness fast upon us. He was right, but women business owners still face too many challenges, and it's time to regain our global advantage. Women are the majority of the population, and they are a majority of new college graduates, including in STEM. But women own around 1/5 of employer businesses, and if you include sole proprietors, the smallest of the small, it's about 1/3 of businesses. Gaps like this show up all over our economy. It's a harmful reality. And while HR 5050 wiped out laws allowing banks to require a male signature, the higher requirements and higher standards that Congress studied at the time have not been removed. Women still face stricter requirements and misperceptions when they're trying to access loans and investments. In fact, in some ways, it's even harder, as we have seen a decline in affordable small dollar lending. And those are exactly the size of loans that many women who over-index as sole proprietors and micro businesses need. So for example, Jenny's Ice Cream, hopefully you're all familiar with this wonderful 60 scoop shop operation. She's one of my great success stories at the SBA, and she was one of my panelists during a Women's Business Summit event yesterday at Dirksen again. She opened her first scoop shop thanks to a $35,000 SBA loan. And today that loan would be even harder to come by. Yet we must provide all of our great ideas with the opportunity to succeed. We have to replicate the Cleos and the Jennys out there because they remain a key to unlocking America's greatest economic potential. Women-owned businesses currently employ 10 million workers and add around $1.8 trillion to our economy each year, but they could create more jobs and they could produce more. They could have more of an effect in the neighborhoods and communities that they serve if we invested in them equally compared to their male counterparts. It's especially important now as women-owned employer firms launch at more than 3 times the rate of their male counterparts. And women of color continue to start businesses at the fastest rates among them, and that's been the case for the last 10 years. Startups and young firms create 2/3 of new jobs. They innovate, create competition, and are the source of our global competitiveness in emerging industries and national defense. And truly, there is nothing more powerful than the grit and determination of an entrepreneur who has her sights set on an idea and is working hard every day to deliver her vision. President Biden's economic agenda is yielding results for entrepreneurship. 10.5 million new business applications have been filed. This is record-shattering because it's 84% faster than any other 2-year period on record, and half of them were women. The president is investing in America, so there are incredible opportunities now and on the horizon as we rebuild infrastructure. Those are contracts that our women-owned businesses around the country are getting. As we reprioritize Made in America, advanced manufacturing, innovation and R&D, clean energy and more. At the SBA, we are ready to ensure that women-owned small businesses have equitable access to those opportunities to grow their businesses. And as we announced during the Women's Business Summit, we are growing our women's business centers from the already historic 145 in every state in DC and Puerto Rico to add 15 new centers in the coming year. And we want to make sure that women not only have these resources, these networks, to learn the know-how of how to start a business and grow your business, but we want them to have market access to build revenues, more critical now than ever before, and to do business specifically with the federal government, the largest buyer in the world. We have a goal of 5% contracting to women-owned small businesses that we need to meet. We've already expanded the number of industries from which our contracting officers can sole source to women-owned small businesses by 70%. But we have to do more. So we've incentivized agencies as well as they look to their strategic sourcing, their category management. We want them to be incentivized to work with our small businesses because they are the innovators that our agencies depend on. So we want to make sure that our performance and our data track this carefully, and that's what we've started to launch with agencies across this government to get to our goals. We're also working to help ensure that they can trade abroad. And I mentioned Cleo Barger earlier. She's from Midstate Aerospace, because after growing her business with the SBA's 8A contracting program, she's now using our international trade grants that are implemented through states in partnership. And now she's going to air shows across Europe and winning multi-million-dollar contracts abroad. And finally, and frankly, something the Biden-Harris administration is prioritizing, as the president said at the State of the Union, we want to make sure women have the funding that they need to grow. It's unacceptable that women still only get 2% of venture funding, for example. Even 3.5 decades after HR 5050, women still do not have equal access to lending. They face disparities in the process. And the SBA is changing to meet women entrepreneurs where they are and everywhere that they are with technology. We are 5 to 10% of the market, depending on how you calculate it. We put out 40 to 60 billion in a year, depending on our highs. And of course, that funding is critical to help spur entrepreneurship in this country. That's why we were started 70 years ago. So we are modernizing and building off the scale that we achieved, growing to $1.2 trillion in relief during the pandemic. We're simplifying our rules to remove red tape and leveraging technology to improve the customer experiencing our processing times and expanding competition in the capital markets with mission lenders in our lending programs, non-depository lenders in our lending programs, and emerging fund managers to ensure a more diverse portfolio across the country. And expanding competition, diversifying that mix of those capital providers that the SBA relies on to distribute its programs is probably the most critical thing. We need unequivocally to have a more broad-end distribution network that can meet those businesses where they are and understand them. We need more capital allocators, fund managers, investing in women-owned businesses because they see the market potential. And across capital value chains, we need more women in family offices, endowments, running endowments and funds to work together and be intentional about allocating capital to this part of the market. Let's take a couple of my business success stories that we featured at the White House, Spanx founder Sarah Blakely and Lip Bar founder Melissa Butler. They both joined me for discussion about how female founders succeed. Sarah went to multiple banks, and they just did not get her value proposition. Finally, a banker caved, he said, and just, her excitement, her enthusiasm was just so profound that he decided to give her a shot. And I just can't imagine the world without our first self-made billionaire. And same with Melissa. Melissa was famous first for going on Shark Tank and not getting a single dime from any of the sharks. Now she's nationwide in Target and Walmart across the country, as they know that Black women may only represent 2.5% of brands, but they're responsible for 11.1% of the total beauty spending. We need more women to write those checks. And that's just the start. We do need to finish the job, as the president says. We can't stop because we know women should be the majority of business owners because women outnumber, as you say, outvote and outlive men, as today's state of the majority is all about. But as a former entrepreneur and a daughter of an entrepreneur, a granddaughter of an entrepreneur, I am committed, as is the Biden-Harris administration, to helping those 12 million women business owners and those new business applicants to make sure that they can start and grow their business and take advantage of the great opportunities that are available in this country. So thank you so much to Engage for highlighting the importance of women empowering our economy and shaping the future of our nation, our economy and our global competitiveness. Together as the majority, we can and will get things done, as our democracy and our economy really depend on it. We can't let another 35 years pass, and must pay attention to the state of the majority to ensure that women-owned small businesses who power this economy can thrive. So thank you so much for reflecting on this topic and for taking it back in your work and ensuring that we can support those incredible women founders out there who are paving the way into our future. Thank you.